In a world so split across political and cultural divides, Hades 2 delivers characters that are unanimously engrossing. The go work go broke crowd will be willfully emasculated by goth mummies, and the bisexuals are gonna love the frogs.
How are you liking our nightly routine of late,
And the goth mummies. I will be talking about the nature of characters here, but I'll refrain from more extensive mentions of the story and spoilers, but if you consider character reveals spoilers, then I don't know. Bugger off, I guess. So, without further ado, let's start with our first section, eloquently named Mother. Who better to start with than quite literally the surrogate mum, Hecate? Yes, Hecate. I see those of you lacking a strong father figure, as well as those of you who answer abs when questioned ass or boobs. Perhaps there is a not insignificant overlap between those longing for such a mum and those of you desiring such a mommy. She is everything your excuse for a father lacks. The Titan runs a tight ship, but, unlike your dad, not one bereft of love or care. She'll teach you DIY, but she'll also come to your ballet recital. I am entirely incapable of DIY. Medea despises e-girls that refer to themselves as goths. She's perfectly content to get jiggy to both the Smiths and the Black Dahlia murder, provided you're listening to vinyls. Otherwise, none for you. You can't leave her. And that's not for lacking will, that's for fear of reprisal. Canonically, she killed her ex-husband's bride and her own children to deny him an heir, that's metal. A more realistic parallel may be that she slashes your tires and puts a hex on your new partner using a locket of your hair that she stole, a beggar's spit, and a myriad other special ingredients she bought from a witch on Etsy.
Hemlock? Teardrops?
Medea's Pinterest board is only rivaled in pins by her voodoo doll that represents the patriarchy. She frequents witch subreddits that decry the threefold rule as white magic propaganda. What makes you think of taking a liking to Nemesis? Why is it that anyone would like Nem? Well, perhaps she's a reflection of yourself. Goals that are too lofty to allow oneself reprieve. You're too hard on yourself. You've developed a hardened exterior plated by apathy, for which you have empathy. She is emotionally unavailable, which may feel consistent with your own disposition, or you really wanted to step on you. Perhaps both. Nem is the embodiment of arrogance and moderation. Yes, I am aware that is somewhat antithetical. A self-assuredness born of talent, but entirely insecure about anything outside of it. Not sure if she's the oldest, but I detect classic first child syndrome here. Not trusting anyone to do the job properly. Wanting to save the underworld and ashamed for failing in doing so. Be warned though, there's a rebellious side you should not challenge, especially to a drinking contest, thumb war, or arm wrestling. She delights in beating up big burly biker types that underestimate her. Our next section is titled Issues. In all honesty, most characters could be here, but we'll discuss, I believe, the most poignant. There is no character, to my estimation, that encapsulates this section better than Icarus. Strife incarnate, Hello Kitty enthusiast, goth. Would? You really shouldn't. While I don't think she has BPD, everyone I've met in real life of whom Eris is reminiscent certainly does. Plunge not into her kitty on the Hello Kitty sheets, for Eris is the painful truth that is belied by the endearing self-deprecation of every self-professed manic pixie. Far more manic than pixie, unless the referred to pixie is of the folklore persuasion and the joke they're playing on you is boring into your chest with a blunt spoon, sawing away your ribcage with a butter knife, and eating your heart with a spork. I'm looking at you, right now, through your phone camera. I can fix her. No, you can't. In my playthrough, when first I saw her, I thought Eris, which has slowly shaped into Eris. By contrast, I saw the portrait of Icarus and immediately could not stand him. My judgment of the cover was validated by the book's first sentence. I can only imagine straight white girls liking this guy. The pick-me energy is off the charts. He's the quintessential soft boy, famously depicted on TikTok in subtle thirst traps, or advocating for the dismantling of the patriarchy. And not because it's a good cause, but cause he's desperate. While he's far from an r/nice guy, Icarus is, like my teenage self was, one more broken heart away from making his wrists look like barcodes, and one Joe Rogan Instagram reel away from the outright rabbit hole. The difference between us is I'd rather disassemble another pencil sharpener than watch Joe Rogan. On a brief note, don't be like Icarus, and don't be like my younger self either. Talk to someone if you need it. Watching that podcast is a serious form of self-harm. There is no character more well versed in self-help books than Sanity. Similarly, the Titaness is no stranger to therapy. This woman has been hurt, good lord. That character is evidenced by her honeyed but monotonous voice.
Every recess of the realms
Is one quite careful not to rock the boat. She avoids anything with a trigger warning and will cry if you raise your voice. Having said that, she cares deeply and uses therapy talk with which she's now well acquainted, not to condescend, hurt, or excuse, but to give her homegirls advice when they're feeling blue or having relationship troubles. Selene has overcome her social anxiety through years of CBT and is now the mom of the group. She will gently ask the waiter for the cutlery they forgot to bring, while your awkwardness has surrendered to the notion of eating a salad with your fingers. Men who went through CBT with Eris have resolved to seek women like Selene to be their big spoon. Prometheus, I suppose, could fit into a daddy category in more ways than one, but here he is. A morally dubious yet incredibly selfish titan. In more familiar terms, this lad cheated on his girlfriend, claimed it was her fault that he cheated, so she got with another lad to get back at him. The twist? She never told her new guy that he was simply a tool, a weapon to strike Prometheus's gut, or perhaps a beak. So now his lassie has two dudes that are immensely heartbroken because of her. After a while, their rivalry turned to camaraderie. They both became gym rats with a goal of not just self-improvement. In their bitter, vulnerable state, the two otherwise well-meaning men started watching Andrew Tate TikToks.
You sick fucks! Fair, right?
Now they've not only a camaraderie, not only an axe to grind, but a sheer disdain for women. He dropped the misogyny after a bit, but his disdain grew to encompass all those sapient and greater.
I hate everyone equally.
Prometheus has chosen to live in a log cabin far from society, and to become a Disney princess, at least until his training arc is complete, and thus his revengeance is underway. The characters in our final category for today are met by most with a sharp, "Excuse me?" People of this predilection are defined by their response. Just hear me out. I have seen unironic musings over Arachne, so to reiterate, excuse me? How? Formicophilia is my only guess, and if you don't know what that is, I insist, for the love of the gods, do not investigate. Now this little lady does have BPD. If she's not invited so much as an accidental meetup at the store that turns into an impromptu coffee, an earful is coming your way. Arachne will automatically assume she's invited to everything, and that includes Christmas with your family, as well as your 5th anniversary weekend getaway. The stereotype of whom Arachne is emblematic is the girl who listens to true crime podcasts about the most god-awful things while crocheting dolls, friends that'll never leave her, and takes delight in scaring normies with her proclivity for heavy metal, when the heaviest thing that she listens to is Pierce the Veil. I'm not like the other girls, personified, or spiderified? Charon is a no for everybody except that particular group of individuals that are fine with the more monstrous in appearance. The bells that never needed the beast to revert to his human form. Mistake them not for furries, that is not a prerequisite. Such individuals need only imagine the heart behind an horrific visage and the deal is sealed. Word! Charon at least is a more feasible bed buddy than Typhon, but I know still that these types of people will not cast him away either. Hades x Bad Dragon collab when? Seems like a relaxed guy. Not particularly talkative, but Charon would be down to chill provided you pay your share for the fancy craft beer he's bringing. However, in the event that you start trouble with his beloved homies, he will offer you 100% off on a one-way ticket to the ICU. I mean... Kronos is a character I somehow cannot imagine straight women or gay men liking, but only a particular subsection of bi-girlies that see Eris as just a bit of a fixer-upper. Unless you know what I know, in which case Kronos is kinda twink granddaddy and a raging homosexual. The gays are going after my man's ravenously. The type that when his grandchildren come out as bisexual would say, "Honey, we knew. Welcome to the club." Sounds just like my family, actually. He's a fan of the classics, Bach, Shakespeare, and old artsy black and white French films. He went to a private school with fancy blazers and ties. As a result, Kronos knows not what the MCU is, has never experienced family, and upon hearing mention of Iggy Azalea, believes it to be the name of a new plant in the rhododendron genus. I've no section for Moros. For a man that is Doom manifest, he's just a sweetie pie. If this does well and I make a part 2 of this, I'll have to find a category into which he better fits. That also may be an inevitable, outside of your control, given my enjoyment of this world and the script ideas I already have. He acts as the archetypical alien come to Earth of the guy that time traveled to the present. He has no concept of today's customs, trends, or society in general, but unlike Kronos, is keen to learn.
Explain this one.
He has a sincere intrigue and he really wants to be part of the friend group, but he's too polite to squeeze his way in.
Well, you see, ara is a term in...
He was my runner-up to Nem. I am currently reconsidering my sexuality.
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Doom here loves walks in the forest and adores all life, bugs, beetles, and other little critters alike. He wouldn't collect bones, but would hold a moment of silence seeing a little creature's remains on his night walks. Doom, like Icarus, is a virgin, but because he's waiting for the right partner, he's not desperate, and he cares about the negative impact that various societal structures have, except in earnest. While his taste in music lies in eras gone by, his guilty pleasure is ABBA. Absolute sweetie pie. Thank you for listening to my rambling. I am surprised by how quickly I birthed this video. Perhaps I too am a mother. I wanted to do a full Hades 2 review as I've been entirely obsessed, but that would take an immense amount of time given my lackluster ability. I'm still teaching myself how to edit. But my hubris could not bear to keep the funny in my brain without sharing it. I've forgotten what accents that aren't British sound like.
A bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
The sun has become a nebulous theoretical rather than a most observable reality, and I am but a distant memory to my friends who likely think I've thrown myself out of a high-up window or something. I wanted to get this out while others are as hype as I am right now. Cheers.